here to conduct an interview under the project together. Ms. Pia Shilling is okay. Welcome. Thank you for coming with us. Ms. Shilling is a buddy student at the University of Bolzano. Yes, true. Okay, and I'm calling from Siena for the University of Siena, and the aim of the interview is to explain the engagement of Pia in working with migrant people, refugees people, as a buddy student at the University of Bolzano. So please, Pia, if you can just introduce yourself, your experience, and explain how you work with these migrant students, and what are your insights and eventual suggestions about your experience. Thank you.
Yeah, so my name is Pia Shilling. I'm originally from Germany, but I live in South Tyrol for 3 years now. I'm a PhD student now at the University of Bolzano and did my master's there before. And I started to participate in the program, 3 semesters ago. I started as a buddy for a student who was an asylum seeker. And when it was clear that I can stay in Bolzano for a few more years, I started also to help a little bit with the organization of the Buddies program. So at the beginning of the semester, I tried to match students who come in as asylum seekers or refugees with regular enrolled students from the university, which are called the Buddies, as you mentioned already. And I tried to help a little bit with organizing meetings and tried to help a little bit with the connection between the regular students and the asylum seeker and refugee students. And just to clarify the names I use, the students who are asylum seekers or refugees, they are at the university as extracurricular students. So they can visit courses and take language courses for 2 years, so for 2 semesters, and get also the credits from those. But so I will refer to them as extra students because they're extracurricular, not because they are extra in a different way. And it works that those credits are then also accepted in case they enroll at a university, I think in Italy for sure, or even at the University of Bolzano. So the idea is that every extra student has a buddy from the University of Bolzano who just can help with daily things like how to use the library, how to use the computer softwares the university use, how to enroll to exams, the online schedules that you don't miss classes. So just like everyday problems that every student has at the university. And if you're not like part of one program where you're like somehow in the program, but if you visit different courses from different programs, it might be hard to have somebody who reminds you of deadlines and things like that. I do think one of your questions was what I think, how the initiative works to include students. And in my opinion, it's a great initiative because it's, for me, like education is the key factor of a successful participation of a society, but also inclusion of people who come from the outside. And I think the program is special because a lot of research and a lot of programs focus on primary and secondary education, the inclusion there. And university education is not so much a focus of organizations and governments, but I think it's just as important because refugees and asylum seekers are a big group of people from every background and from every education background. And as like to assume that how, for example, media presents it often that they are less educated than our society is just not really correct. So I think it's important to have programs for every education level and for every personal level like people have. And even if the program like even if the students don't finish the full program, I think it's a good stepping stone to get further education and get further education in the area you're interested in. The university offers, for example, computer courses from the volunteers from our ICT department to help students who haven't dealt so much with computers before, are not so used to them. And I think also for potential employees, it's a strong signal that you have somebody educated and very motivated to start a new job, like how it is for every university student. And especially the buddies program, I think it's a great opportunity for the buddies as well to get in contact with other people from other cultures. And I hope that's the idea of it, to also bring like different cultural backgrounds together, who under other circumstances might not meet if you're not like grouped up with another person, because you have different hobbies, you have different languages often, but it creates still like a bond between people is what I hope. And yeah, I think well, another question you ask is if it improved my attitude towards refugees. And for me, I mean, I worked as a volunteer with refugees for over 10 years now, so I never ever had a negative experience. So I think for me it improved a lot. More the attitudes towards the receiving group, because in Bolzano they offer, as I said before, they don't assume that asylum seekers or refugees are lower educated, but they give them an opportunity to higher education. And for me, it's inspiring to see, for example, the extra student I was teamed up with. I think within 2 months she learned more Italian than me in 2 years. Like, very, very smart. She had 2 kids on the side. She worked on the side. And like, for me, that's like very eye-opening and very inspiring also, what you can achieve if you really have the will to do it. And especially given harder circumstances than I ever experienced, it's very impressive and very, very nice to see. And I think also that the professors and all the volunteers are doing their best. So all the professors are informed if they have an extra student in their class. And they sometimes even offer extra office hours to help and to try to support them. We try to do a survey, especially for the Buddies program, every semester, to see how we can improve, how we can do things better. And obviously there's always many, many things to do better. But I mean, given that the whole program is just based off of volunteers who do it in their free time, also the professors, the administrative staff, the language center, like everybody's doing it on the side, I think it's working pretty good. And just like the feedback is also taken in. So the Buddies program didn't exist from the beginning, but the extra students wish to have somebody they can relate to, so it started like this. And I think, yeah, for that it was already, it improved, and it's successful, and it's just like an ongoing process how to get better and maybe keep more extra students in the curricular courses, because like any other students, I guess, we all know it, that financial restrictions are the hardest part of being a student, to work on the side, to manage your classes on the side. And then to those restrictions, we already know the extra students face like many visits at the questura, where they have to, like, it's always putting more stress on you. They deal with a lot of uncertainty. I mean, if you don't have a perspective to stay, how do you get your motivation? What's the point of taking more classes? And to have this always in your head, I think is hard. And we also heard that they sometimes face some discrimination. So if they have to do group work, just what I said before, like media puts this picture in your head that they are not as well educated as us or whatever, which is hard then to deal with. So I think also for that, the buddies program can help a little bit, because the more buddies we have, the more chances is that in every course there's somebody who is a buddy and might be willing to team up. And it's not in all courses, obviously, but we heard it. And also the buddies program, I think, is good because like different countries have different education cultures. So some students are more used to classroom sizes at university and are overwhelmed if there's, I don't know how many Bolzano has in bachelor courses, but 100 to 200 students sitting there, and the professor is not taking care of every student, is not asking every student how they're doing. I think for that, the buddy can be there. It's a little bit their role to check in and see if there's problems, and like even if you cannot help with the methods of the course, you can maybe help just with the motivation or being in touch with the professor. And then I think also a problem we all face in South Tyrol is the language barrier, because somehow everybody has a language barrier there, because the university is trilingual, and to enroll as a regular student, you have to be fluent in 2 of the languages, which is difficult if none of the languages is your mother tongue, and you have to learn basically. Most speak good English, but somehow all 3 languages are not what you used to speak at home, and not what you used to be studying every day or studying your material with. And yeah, I think that's kind of my experience with the program. It's very cut short because like there's a lot, and there's so many different personalities that you meet, and everybody has their own story, which is different, and you can never put it all together and like
just a question. Apart from I mean the support, the university, etc., etc. This experience has created some opportunity to create a team, to go out together, to have fun together among the group of the buddies, and among the buddies and the other students. So the support, the receiving group, as you call it. So do you go out together and have fun during the evening, or is an experience that remains within the university?
It depends a little bit. We're trying to create this group, because at the moment it is that not every extra student actually has a buddy, because we don't have enough. So to actually have a group of people that are like a little bit bond together and can relate to each other, we try to do like, we tried once a month. At the moment we do it online, to have like an aperitivo, or to have like activities, or invite people. Might be important. We had an immigration lawyer talk. So we try to really create a little bit of a group, but it's difficult. Everybody has different schedules, and not everybody can participate every time. But so that at least everybody knows each other a little bit, that the buddies can also exchange a little bit what their problems are, if the communication might not go that well or something, and also that the extra students can maybe relate to each other a little bit, and then the whole group obviously each other is the idea. But for example, with my extra student, we met outside the university quite a bit. Like I was at her house sometimes, and especially because she has 2 kids, so I sometimes then went there. But we created a little bit of like a friendship, I would say. I don't know if we ask her if she says the same. No, but I really like her. She's an impressive woman, so I'm really inspired by her, and I'm really fascinated by her. But I don't think this is always the case. I think the buddies should first of all be there to professionally help, and if then the people get along, I think it's great if they do a lot outside, and we try to organize hikes with everybody. But it's not really expected that everybody does that and everybody gets along like this. I think I was just very lucky with who I got and how we fit together.
Okay, cool. If I was a student at the University of Bolzano, and you meet me, what what do you say me to convince me to try the experience of being a buddy?
Well, we write an email. That's easier. No, I think that you really meet people who have a different background than you. You develop communication skills, you develop intercultural skills way more than you can with, I mean, South Tyrol is already, there's Germans, there's Italians, but then immigrants are again a little bit more separated than the Italians and the Germans. So it gives you a lot of experience there. You hear interesting stories, you hear fascinating stories of people, hard stories, obviously. And I think very important is that you can really make a difference for somebody, because the extra students struggle to fit in the system at the university and to find their way, and just a little bit of extra help might actually keep them in the classes. I think everybody knows that you motivate your friend to study for the exam a little bit more, but if you don't have anybody who does that, you might give up. And I think that's an important role of the buddies, to really motivate them and help them with little problems that might create like bigger problems if you cannot solve them right away. And so you might be helping somebody really to integrate and to be part of the university life. And so that's, I think, also like a personal achievement to do. And then everybody gets a little certificate at the end of the year too.